I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good day, Drew Taddia. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful day?
Fantastic. Thanks so much for having me on your show and giving me a chance to talk with yourself and your audience here.
The amazing audience is definitely going to enjoy this conversation from one voice to another. Drew, please do tell us, what part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in Alberta, Canada right now.
Oh, sweet. And which of your talents is responsible for us meeting?
Well, I think one of the main things that I specialize in is detoxing your body through a number of different areas. Through environment is a big one we look at, and we look at workouts, activity, fitness level, and then we look at nutrition as a whole to help you reduce stress and detox your body in a proper, more natural or holistic type of way.
Intriguing. Well, definitely please do touch on what you do in the radio world as well, please.
So I've been on air actually for about 6 years now. This is year 6.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
we kind of, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It was just kind of I didn't even know I traveled the world as a professional athlete. And someone told me I started running a fitness business, and someone told me that you need to get on air. Everyone listens to the radio in this town. And they said the newspaper is also another great way. So I really just started writing to the radio, started knocking on doors and asking them to put a show together. And they finally let me do that after a number of months trying to get on air with them. And from then on, it was just a step-by-step process. We were just started out here in this town, and then we moved across Canada. So we're on 7 terrestrial stations across Canada.
Wow.
And we're on and then we reach people all over the world as a podcast as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. You didn't say the name of the program nor the podcast.
It's called Exploring Mind and Body.
I love what you said. You heard that, amazing audience. Like it's the song that's so important, right? Exploring mind and body.
You know how that goes, as when you sit behind the mic, you have a little bit of different voice.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Tell me who you learned the skill of communicating purpose from.
Yeah, communicating is, I really feel that communication is a lost art. We just don't communicate anymore. We send text messages, we send emails, Facebook messengers, or other social media platforms. I think it's so important to sit in front of someone. Now that could be in front of a microphone in this case, as we know in the podcasting world, but really communicating with someone sitting across from them and having a conversation. And not only that, but listening. I think listening is a really challenging thing in this day and age, to sit across from someone and really be interested in listening to what they have to say and the message that they're telling you. And I really feel like it's the practice, and it's the sitting down in front of a microphone, sitting down in front of a person in a coffee shop instead of an email. And it's that, I suppose it's really that practice and repetition which really is going to get you to be a better communicator.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So are you extroverted naturally or introverted?
I'm very much introverted.
Wow.
It's challenging. It's super difficult for me to hear my own voice when I started on radio. As we know in the social media world, it's going video now. So, we've done hundreds of videos now, but when you first sit down there and you look at yourself and you listen to yourself, it's so challenging.
It is. It's really amazing looking at yourself and hearing yourself. We listen to ourselves through our headsets, right? Which can be irritating. But I've gotten a secret. I have a secret for listening to yourself, especially on a podcast, because it's necessary to listen back to yourself, right? It's how you learn. Listen.
What's your secret?
Listen on 2x.
Oh, so it goes by a bit quicker.
So your voice changes, right? So it's not as irritating in your own ear.
Yeah, it's really one of the most challenging things about doing this is hearing yourself or watching yourself. So anyone that's sitting down here and sharing their message to improve people's lives, I think they're doing a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tell us about the products, Drew. Tell us where we can get more information about what you're bringing to market, please.
Our main site is called trueformlife.com, and that's where we put together most of what we do. And that's we look towards changing in a holistic, a whole body approach, from mindset to, like I mentioned earlier, from nutrition to fitness, and environment means everything. And most of us are stressed out in this day and age. It's just how we live. We're running from job to kids to events or appointments. We just don't stop. And I think that if we don't pay attention to that environment, that's going to be the biggest issue to weigh us down and stress us out. And we don't do anything to detox our minds and bodies. So when we look at my main site, that talks about what we can do to help you out through I've written a number of books. I've put up tons of videos, and we have an online membership program. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we do. Much of it is free. So if you want to head over to the site and look through some of our blog posts, some of our videos, that a lot of that information is just there for you to get to know us better and understand how we can help you out.
Well, Drew, please do tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
I love this question. And when I was thinking about it, I was like, the best, and we talk about this in sports, but I also train athletes as well. So and being a professional athlete for a number of years, it's consistency that I've been able to do over a number of years is being consistent. and I think that means so much. That's why I love the question, because you have to be consistent with in what you're doing. I think it's amazing to put out this great content over and over again, and in the way you're doing it in shorter snippets. And I think that it's so important to be consistent no matter what you're doing. If you're eating properly, if you're exercising or working out on a regular basis, and if you're doing a podcast or a radio show, you need to be consistent with the content that you're sending out so people can know and expect and trust what you're doing.
How does it make you feel being consistent?
Yeah, I think consistency is everything. And growing up in the athletic world, you need to be consistent. You're only as good as your last game. And if you look at how you are from day to day, and if you can perform day after day, and if you can get better at what you're doing, it just gives you that self-empowering that you can take on anything and continue to move forward, be good at it, and be consistent with it.
Love it. Amazing audience, we are live with Drew Taddia. Do check him out, right? He is the radio talk show. I'm reading this directly off of LinkedIn. It sounds great. So much of what you have on LinkedIn is so great, right? Radio talk show host of nationally syndicated exploring mind and body. I hope I got that correct. Hey, Drew, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded by warm, beautiful blue Caribbean water. Drew, what is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory was it was in the fall in Connecticut, and I spent some time on the East Coast as well, in the States there. And I was riding this little tricycle, and it was just a beautiful day. And I think being a kid, there's nothing like it. Just having no worries in the world and just riding around through the leaves, and it was a beautiful fall day outside. So that's something, when I can think back as far as I can remember, that's the memory that pops up.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
That memory is so clear because that's how I am now. I think today, if you watch my videos or listen to me talk, when we get feedback, the first thing that people say is, "I love to hear you laugh," and that's just how I am. I just take things life isn't so serious. I think it's important to enjoy what you're doing and enjoy life and laugh and spend time with friends and not be so white knuckled and hang on to everything that's said or everything that's done. So that memory there in particular just reminds me of being a kid, and that's how I live my life.
Well, can I offer or add to my interpretation of the thought picture you created in my mind?
I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
I love the idea of action in motion in environment. So it's like the bicycle riding, you are the fitness guy, right? And then what you do that encompasses the importance of the environment. And to see you there as a child being in that picture, in that image, if you would, and now that you're doing that and helping others get there as well, that is pretty fascinating.
Very cool. I hadn't thought about that from that perspective, but that's awesome. I appreciate that.
You are welcome. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Another great question. And it's similar to how I am now again. And it was the Beach Boys. I always felt, well, my mom would always say, you have an old soul. So I would like old things. I like old cars. I like those old hats or trench coats that they used to wear. Yeah. And then even when I was growing up, the Beach Boys was a kind of, we were past that era. So I would flip on the Beach Boys, and it's kind of funny that I grew up in Canada, but I always thought about the beach. I always thought about living at the beach. And one of my oldest pieces of writing says, where do you want to be when you're older? And it said, I wrote down, I want to live at the beach in a beach house with my girlfriend. So, yeah, it's cool. I've a great experience. I've been able to grow in that manner, and I spend summers and months at a time in Los Angeles on the beaches. So I'm very fortunate to be able to follow that dream.
Love it. Fascinating. Well, Drew, we've arrived at our destination. Hey, you didn't say a Beach Boys song though. Hit me a song before we go.
Kokomo.
There we go. All right, Drew, we officially have arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to go pretty quickly here. Drew, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
No.
Are you married?
No, kind of.
I'll leave it. I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it. Do you have children?
No children.
Do you believe in God?
In a way,
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No, I don't.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone under the computer? More than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Depending on the day.
After you could go ahead.
Just sometimes I work online. I work from my computer, and then this year we also just started training a local college athletic organization. So we have 8 teams. So the days that we have more training, then I would say less. But then the other days when I'm working online, so it'd be 8 or more.
Okay. Drew, after having 1,001 conversations in 3 months, I came up with a workbook. The name of it is Yours. It stands for Your Own Unique Real Self. And as you dig deeper into your own unique real self, we help with your own unique real statement in that workbook, which is your mission, right? But if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who Drew Taddia is, what would you say that is? My
statement would be, it's time we start thinking of better solutions instead of better excuses.
I love it. Drew Taddia, hey, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's a pleasure being here again, Angel. Thank you so much for the invite. Thanks for having me on. Thanks to your listeners for tuning in. I do have a free offer, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't ask you before.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I thought that I have a book called Detoxify Yourself, and that's just what we talked about with nutrition and fitness, and more so environment. So if some of your listeners would like to check that out, I usually put that up for a short amount of time, but it's just at trueformlife.com/free Detoxify Yourself ebook, and they can get it there for a limited time, and hopefully they enjoy it.
Love it. Drew Taddia, again, this was a great pleasure. Hey, thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.